Innovation is a word that's very easy to talk about, but very hard to do. But at the EU Open Innovation Strategy and Policy Group, we've been looking at innovation for the last 3 or 4 years, and we've published, almost a dozen sort of, deep reports on it. And there is something very different that's happening. So one characteristic is the idea of integrated collaboration, and everybody working together. And we talk about the quadruple helix innovation, where government, industry, academia, and indeed citizens can work together to drive structural changes far beyond the scope of what any one organization can do on its own. We talk about actually shared value, shared vision. So, the intersection between sort of corporate performance and society has been reconceived or redefined, and the idea that we can solve big problems and be profitable at the same time. So that's a real key aspect of Open Innovation 2.0. In parallel as well, the use of exponential technologies so that we achieve network effects is crucial. And then finally, and we could talk about other aspects, but the other defining one is actually the focus on adoption, because we've had this misconception that innovation and invention are the same thing. But the research from the OECD and so on shows that 80% of the benefits of innovation come from just the widespread adoption of existing innovations, and 20% come actually from the production of innovation. And if you think of, say, even the semiconductor industry, which is one of the most dynamic sort of, industries in the world, it just added, I think, is about 0.4% sort of, GDP contribution to the US, but the widespread adoption of information technology is, far, far more substantial. So, Innovation 2.0 is also about a culture change where the society, the propensity isn't, rather than resisting change, it's about embracing change. And President Obama in his State of the Union speech this year said, innovation doesn't just change our lives, it's how we make a living. I think we get hung up in Ireland talking about, competitiveness, and there certainly is a competitiveness issue, and, we're getting back to somewhere where we're near competitive. But the real problem is actually an innovation problem where we're too reliant on foreign direct investment. And I don't position that as a problem, in that it's a huge opportunity, because we've been, on a global scale, we've been more successful, per sort of person or per population than any other company in the world. So that we have done, outstandingly well. And if we can continue just to perpetuate that, we're going to be in good shape. But what we haven't done well is, there's just a couple of exceptions, Ryanair, Glen Dimplex, one or two others, Kerry Group, where we've been able to grow an indigenous industry. So Ireland, without the foreign direct investment companies, it wouldn't be a wasteland, but it wouldn't be far off it. So I think there's a great opportunity by leveraging the foreign direct investment companies that are here and working with sort of the entrepreneurs, and also actually working with some of the big indigenous companies. There's an opportunity to create a new ecosystem that can, create more innovation. So we have this innovation, gap in terms of Ireland, where we're sort of reliant on importing these foreign innovations and then improving them, which is a great skill in itself. But we don't have enough examples. We don't have a Nokia that's grown out of Ireland, and we need to create a couple of those. Well, I think we're watching the birth pangs of Open Innovation 2.0, so we're just at the very, very start of the S-curve, and that's what's most exciting, because I think actually we can actually not just be there, we can be leading it. Alan Kay, the Disney fellow, he used to say the best way to predict the future is to invent it. And Open Innovation 2.0 is just becoming real now. Now, we do have exemplars, we have best practice, but imagine the power of Ireland, where if we were able to actually, move to a scenario where the culture is really open to innovation and we can work together, and the product of all our efforts wouldn't be the least common denominator, it will be the highest common multiple. That would be very powerful. We're practicing what we preach. We use Open Innovation 2.0, and I think one of the outcomes is, and this really isn't an output indicator, but we've quadrupled our headcount in just 3 years. No, that's not a measure of success. And the measure of success is actually the value that you deliver, and product roadmap for impact for Intel, demand side innovation. And one of the things we've learned is that what can be very powerful is demand side innovation. We recently had our outgoing CEO, Paul Ottolini, here in LeakSip, and he shared some of his lessons and what made Intel successful under his leadership. One of them was around betting big, but I thought the most important one was we win when our customers win. So we very much embrace this idea of shared value, and that we can drive transformational change, but we need to make sure the ultimate end user technology wins. So what we're doing, in terms of Open Innovation 2.0, today the computing paradigm is the mobility paradigm, and Intel probably is largely credited with starting that with Wi-Fi, and in parallel there was GSM, but we're probably a little bit late coming to the market with tablets and phones, even though we had tablets, one of the first companies to bring tablets. But at Intel Labs, we're working on the next paradigm beyond that, which is cyber physical systems, and that's where cloud and the Internet of Things come together. A very valuable lesson was actually taking the Masters of Business Studies at the Smurfit Business School, and that was a very deliberate decision not to do the MBA, but to do an MBS focused on MIS, and it turned out to be hugely valuable because it actually opened up a window to a whole world of research that was, immediately usable. And then I found, actually, I moved to the US about a year and a half later, and the professors that were actually had written the case studies had the opportunity to interact with them sort of, on a peer level basis. So that was hugely actually beneficial. So actually, genuinely, without sort of playing to the audience, that was a big lesson. But I think actually the other lesson is around innovation, that vision and hard work always pay off. You're always going to get setbacks, and sometimes you despair, you take a step and get 2 steps forward. But if you have a constancy of vision and you're prepared to work hard at it, then invariably the results will happen. I think that's true on an individual basis. I think it's true for companies. It's true for countries. So countries that actually do have a vision, that work hard, they will have setbacks. And Ireland is a case in point there. But I'd be confident with hard work and a vision, we certainly can bounce back.